All right, if you are wondering what your favorite stocks are going to do tomorrow afternoon, this is the video for you. Sit tight. We're going to dive right into the stock market. We're going to look at Tesla. We're going to look at Nvidia, SoFi, and we're going to look at Palantir as well as the SPY and talk about the VIX. I'm going to show you guys exactly what's likely to happen based on two different scenarios tomorrow afternoon. And we're going to revisit what we discussed in the previous video and put it all together so you guys can take advantage of this really potentially large buying opportunity. Let's get started. There's a lot of factors that goes into the stock market. There's sentiment, there is manufacturing data, services data, unemployment, jobs added. There's also GDP and growth rate as well as housing. On top of that, you have interest rate cuts, whether the Feds are hawkish or dovish. You also have tariffs. You also have tariffs and world economy news, but charting and technical analysis is one of the prime and most important things that you should understand. I teach my students this in the Discord. If this is something you guys want to learn after this video even further, whether you're new in the market, losing money, just getting started, it doesn't matter. I'm driven every day to help people just like you. So if you enjoy this video and you want to learn more, you can sign up for my Discord, training course, and full one-on-one coaching, mastermind, and boot camp at any time at investwithcorey.com. The link is in the information box below. You can click on training once you get to the website and you'll be able to watch a video and book a call with me and my team so we can help you grow your portfolio. So we're going to start off looking at Palantir. If you remember in the previous video, I explained that Palantir was likely to pull back into the lower mid 70s. And I said it's probably going to pull back to 78 at least or lower. And then it will come back up after Monday. There'd be a real big sell-off Monday morning and it would drop quite a bit, which it did. It gapped down. And I said going through Monday, things would stabilize and they would drop a little bit more on Tuesday morning. And as long as the news wasn't bad, we at least meet the expectation or beat it, the market would move upwards, which is exactly what it did in Palantir. And Palantir went down right on my line and right back up, barely went above this bracket. You see right here, this is where I said the stock would go, to this bottom line, to this top line. So I was off a little bit, but that's pretty close. And it wasn't the only stock that did it. Looking at SoFi, I said it would come down and go back up, and we're working our way right back up. We're going to look at SoFi in just a minute. Palantir is a very strong buy, and they have a lot of commercial contracts, pretty much 50-50 with the government, which is great. So if the world goes into turmoil, Palantir will be okay. And they have a lot of growth. So looking at Palantir, we can see that the stock has pulled back and there's been a lot of downtrend over the past 2 months. But if you look at the stabilized price, it's right around $78 as we see right here. It's rejected this price multiple times. 78 is fairly strong. So we draw a line there. And when we draw a line there in Palantir, it basically shows us very strong area of interest and support, which is exactly what it is. And the line crosses this downtrend, which is now touching multiple candles, which gives us strong confluence. The stock is overbought, then oversold, a lot of volatility. So when we get to this meeting point right here, which is a wedge, this shows us the potential for a stock movement in either direction and likely to the north side of things, which is bullish. And if we look at this date right around this wedge, it is the middle to end of April, which is a pretty particular time considering all the stocks are doing the same thing. One of my viewers on YouTube pointed out something very interesting, and I went and looked, and it makes a lot of sense and it's very accurate. And this is what he said. You can see it on the screen. Overlay the M2 Global Liquidity Index on a 73-day offset, and the correlation to everything is interesting, especially the part where late April is the bottom, followed by a rapid breakout to all-time new highs. Now, if you understand that, there is a lot going into this. All of the data points to a breakout at the end of April. So why would that have any form of significance? Well, there's multiple reasons. One, April is usually the turnaround point for the slower months of January and February, most of the time March, and April does a lot better historically. But not only that, the most important pieces of data that correlate to this event is that, one, all stocks are lining up the same way with that, including the inverse on the VIX. Then when you get past that and you move on to the next piece of data, it shows that Jerome Powell is set to speak in the third week of April. And if he's set to speak in the third week of April and announces rate cuts, that means the following week, the market would be doing much better, right in time for these charts that I'm talking about right now. So there's a lot of things going into this, but not only that, a lot of dark pool data shows a ton of activity that could be somewhat bullish going through April. A lot rides on that. Also, if Jerome Powell was to hint at a rate cut this Friday, April the 4th, and he would almost surely tie tie that into his announcement and speech that he has in the third week of April, which again would correlate with the end of April breakout. But not only that, if he was to announce a straight up rate cut on April 4th, if that was to happen, the rate cut would take place in April or May. So again, everything lines up to end of April, beginning of May. This is very powerful, and this is what the technical analysis is showing us. So on Palantir, I would be particularly interested to see what happens tomorrow, but just understand that if Donald Trump says things that are neutral, that we already expected, or better than we expected, market's going to fly. The buying opportunity will diminish pretty rapidly. But if he says things that are much worse than we expected, well, then the market is likely to go down more or consolidate and be more volatile. I feel like we're very priced in on the bottom with a lot of fear, so it would take a lot of bad news to have the market go down more. That's a little bit unlikely in my opinion. It would have to be really bad news. If it was just slightly bad or neutral, don't think the markets are going to react much more to that because there's already extreme pressure on the market and extreme fear priced in. We're kind of at this point oversold, just looking for answers. The market, investors, institutions, just the overall economic landscape is uncertain, and because of the tariffs tomorrow on Liberation Day, so to speak. So when Donald Trump talks about all these things and explains to us his plan in detail, and we have an understanding, we know the direction he's going. Once we have answers, even if they're not the greatest, market is still likely to recover. This is a buying opportunity for Palantir because if it goes down a little bit more to 72 or 70 or even 65, you could dollar cost average. Although going down that low outside of extremely bad news and way worse than we expected is just not likely. The bottom is in the 72 to 75 range, which is not far off from where it is now. And it's already went down to this range multiple times. It's going to take a lot of bad news. It would have to be very bad to push Palantir even lower. We look at SoFi, it's the same thing. It gapped down. I said it would run up. SoFi is a very good buy in the $11 range. If you can get SoFi under $12, it is a good deal long term. Very great stock. Banking charter, Galileo, Technisys, great stuff. Their growth is incredible. Anthony Noto is a great CEO, and he said it wasn't a matter of if, just a matter of when they become one of the largest banks in the United States. This, in my opinion, is inevitable. Great company, great stock, and at $11, anywhere in the $11 range is great. We can see there's a lot of support down here in the mid 10s to 11. So I drew this support line going through all the previous gaps. There's a lot of support here. And when we draw this wedge out and we look at this on this chart here, it shows us that there's a lot of breakout potential at the beginning of May, end of April. In this whole area, the wedge on it is nearly identical to Palantir. But let's take a look at Tesla and see exactly what we're looking at. When we look at Tesla, we have got a lot of support. There is so much support at 210. So if we were to draw this downtrend the same way, we want to make sure that we're touching multiple spots. Let me just clear this up. Multiple candles to make the confluence even stronger. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with this candle right here. It's not as much time. We're only going back about a month and a half or so. There we go. Let's get rid of this arrow. But this is the trajectory I said the stock would take. You see, down, up, and it's literally going that way. So we're going to pull this over like so. There we go. We're touching both candles, almost a third touch right there. And the wedge, April 22nd. Go to Palantir, April 25th. Okay. These wedges based off of support are all primed and ready to go. But what does this mean? Like, Corey, what does this even mean? This makes no sense. Well, this is what happens. When you look at a stock and you find a big area of support at the bottom of gap fills where stocks go down and touch multiple times, like in this instance, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and it wouldn't even go down that far. That doesn't really count, but it would not go down that far. You have like 8 or 9 times or more that the stock has bounced off of the $212 range in the last 9 to 10 months. It's very strong support. You draw a line there. Then you want to touch at least 2 or 3 candles or more on your downtrend. Now, if I was to go up to this candle right here, then we'd have to move this edge up here, and we'd only be touching 2 candles long term. This would move the wedge out to somewhere middle to end of May going into June. So it's off a little bit, but it depends on where we look at the chart. If we're looking at Palantir, we started February 19th, and so we'd want to start February 19th on Tesla, which is right after this candle. So if we're to compare them identically like we are right now, we're looking at a breakout of April 21st, like somewhere between 17th and 24th. Right in here, we look at Palantir, and it's somewhere between April 10th and April 17th. So relatively the same amount of time, like same time frame. So if we look at Nvidia, very similar situation. A lot of support in the 113 and even more support in the 105. So if we bring this back right at the top of the gap fill to 105, we can see that we've got all these resistances on the 105. Okay, so 105 it is. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back to February, which is right around here. Okay, so we'd start right about there and we'd come down. We want to straighten this up. We're touching candles. So February 19th is right around there. If we were to do this wedge and touch this candle right there and move it to right here, this way everything lines up. This would be 2 days after the Palantir and the Tesla and the SoFi downtrend, but relatively the same thing when the downtrend started. We're starting on the first candle before the stock drops. And if we do this wedge, just like we did on the other stocks, see, touching both candles, we got our support line. We already looked at the support. We started the downtrend at the exact same week. And look where the wedge is. April 15th. All stocks are literally showing the exact same thing. It looks like something big is going to be taking place in the stock market, and it all relies on interest rate cuts, PMI data, and most importantly, tariffs this week. It's really between Wednesday and Friday, but services data is likely to beat on Thursday, and we had a decent manufacturing data, barely beat manufacturing, but it was decent. Services data is probably going to beat pretty well. It's probably going to crush, honestly, and if it does, it's really all riding on tomorrow and Friday. So this is really important stuff to understand. You guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. This is something that's very powerful, and we can see on every chart it's overbought, then oversold, overbought, now it's oversold, now overbought with bearish divergence. It's all the same old thing. Now, if we look at SPY, let's go ahead and take a look at SPY. We're going to do the same exact thing. Let's go back to February 21st. That's our downtrend right there, touching both candles. We got lots of support right here at the 560 range, and 560 is very strong. So is 550. I'd even argue to say that 550 is even stronger, because when it dipped in August back here, it dipped off of 550, pulled back to 550, and then it's pulled back to 550 twice. So 550 is probably stronger than 560. You can see 560 is very strong. Ceiling right here and floor right here. So resistance and support. It was resistance here and here and here all the way through. Then it became support right there. Then it broke it, came back through, broke it again. Now it's coming back up. So we could sit here and say, because it broke through, 550 is probably what we should use. But if we look at this drawing right here, we've touched two candles, overbought, oversold, overbought. Look where the wedge is. April 4th to April 10th. But if we lower this to 550, where the stock has bounced multiple times, and we pull this out so it stays on both candles, and we correct this, April 15th. Do you see what I'm saying? Look at what's happening here. Look how much support there is at 550. Resistance, resistance, support, resistance, support, support, resistance, resistance, support, support. And it was resistance right into August when we had that big drop, and then it came back up. So looking at SPY, we can see right here that we started out February 21st, Palantir, February 19th, Nvidia, February 21st. Breakout, likely April 15th. Palantir, we come down here. April 14th, April 15th. SPY over here, April 14th or 15th. You can't make this up. I'm literally finding the support, matching it on the RSI, exponential moving average, drawing the lines down, exact lines, touching two candles, starting on the first downward candle or bearish candle, and then touching two candles on the same dates, building the wedges the exact same, and they all point to an April 14th or 15th breakout. Give or take a day or two in any direction, but they're literally within a day or two of one another. This is very interesting. Something very interesting is going on with the stock market right now. You have to understand there is risks that the market could go down, but it's likely the market is going to go up, and it's really all dependent on tomorrow's tariffs. But Donald Trump ultimately wants business in the States to be good, and he's going to protect the market, and I believe the Trump put is going to be in full effect tomorrow. This very well could be the biggest buying opportunity of the last 10 or 15 years due to how low everything is right now. If the stock market returns returns to its November and December highs, which was just a few months ago, the current prices show a significant growth potential in the coming months. This could be one of the biggest, if not the biggest, buying opportunities we've seen in quite a long time. Remember, dollar cost average, don't over leverage, and understand the risks no more than 10% of your portfolio in any one stock or position. But in my opinion, this is a very strong buying opportunity. We are going to find out tomorrow. What do you think? Put your comments in the comment box below if you enjoyed this video, and let me know what you think is going to happen with Donald Trump and tomorrow's Liberation Day. I'll catch you guys on the next upload. If you want to sign up for Discord, one-on-one coaching, boot camp, mastermind classes, you can do so at any time. investwithcorey.com. Click on training once you're on the website and book a call with my team and I so I can help you. And I'll see you on the next video. Take care of yourselves, fam.